I thank the honourable member for Medicine Hat, Carson Warner, but I'm disappointed because I found him so reasonable an approach when we were in the committee working on clause by clause, and I find the ramped up partisan rhetoric around this bill to be really dispiriting. What this bill does is it was never intended to take on gangs. Gang violence is another issue. It's related, but it's not the same thing, and we've talked in committee about my own experience. It happens that a member of my family is very involved in as actually a prosecuting lawyer within the BC Task Force on Organized Crime and dealing with gang crime. This is about tightening up the restrictions around who can own a firearm, particularly looking at things, and this is a fact, I mean, it's not an invented thing at this hour of debate. It's clear that this bill extends the background checks from 5 years to a lifetime. And I think the honourable member for Medicine Hat, Carson Warner, sees the sense in that. It's really important that we actually look at a history of violence, even if it goes back more than 5 years, that we look at the risks to intimate partners if somebody has ever had access to a gun or made a threat that falls short of what's currently right. What's in the current Firearms Act covers a lot of things, but it doesn't cover when an intimate partner has had to get a restraining order against someone who is threatening his or her life. So I ask the honourable member to be honourable and to admit this bill has benefits for public safety.
Honourable member for Medicine Hat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to my friend from the Green Party. I appreciate her advocacy at committee as we're going through amendments. You know what? The reality is, currently, before C-71 came along, criminal record checks, background checks for people applying for a license did not go back 5 years. We heard from those who actually do these checks that they go back the lifetime of the individual while they and when they apply for a PAL. So the suggestion that they only go back 5 years is a misnomer. Now, is there a need to improve the ability or inability for people to access firearms who have a record or mental health issues? Absolutely. It was the Conservative Party who brought in and was the first to bring in the prohibitions, the removal of licenses, the removal of firearms from those who are convicted or accused of domestic violence. And so, Mr. Speaker, I appreciate her question, and I think this current legislation is void. We have some steps to be made, and I think, however, this bill doesn't do it as required by Canadians for public safety. Thank you.